The heavy steel bolt slides home, sealing you away from the burning horizon above. For a moment the silence feels like salvation. You have the reinforced walls, the shelf, stable rations, and the rugged ventilation system you snagged online. You believe you have outsmarted the apocalypse, but 72 hours later the headache sets in. Behind your eyes a rhythmic thumping that won't fade. The air feels thick, syrupy, and strangely warm. You didn't account for the one enemy that steel doors cannot block, the biology of the enclosed space. The surface world may be destroyed, but down here simple chemistry is plotting your execution. Welcome to Victor's Logic, where we dissect the reality that safety is an illusion without the math. Let's dismantle the fantasy of the bunker and expose mechanics turning a sanctuary into a coffin. It begins with the breath in your lungs. You assume the danger is trying to get in, but the real threat is what you push out. Every minute you exhale roughly 200 milliliters of CO2. In the open world this disperses instantly. In a sealed concrete box it pools. Think of it not as air but as water, filling a bathtub with the drain plugged. At a 1% concentration your focus drifts. By 3% cognitive motor functions begin to stutter. At 5% consciousness slips away. If it hits 8% you have less than an hour before your heart stops. A standard shelter housing a family of 4 will reach toxic saturation in 3 days. You relied on walls for protection, but those walls are now trapping the poison. The solution is not filtration. APF filters catch dust. The solution is fluid dynamics. You need active air exchange, fresh supply piped high, stale exhaust pumped out low. Carbon dioxide is dense, it seeks the lowest point, settling on the floor like an invisible fog. If your sleeping cot is low to the ground, you might lay down and simply never wake up. The only way to survive this is data. Install a dedicated carbon dioxide monitor. If you are not tracking the numbers, you are gambling with your life. A reading of 1000 ppm is your warning shot. At 5000 the air is toxic. If you see 4000 it is already too late. Then there is the issue of volume. An adult human requires 550 liters of oxygen daily. In a 1000 cubic foot room you start with 21% oxygen. With 4 occupants and 0 fresh intake, you will descend into hypoxia within 2 days. Your body will panic first, heart racing, lungs hiving, before the mind goes dark. Below 195% oxygen, logic fails. At 10% biological shutdown is immediate. If that monitor isn't flashing you fly blind. But let's assume you solve the air mixture. The next adversary is water. The earth is wet and concrete is porous. Groundwater presses in from the outside, while inside every breath adds moisture to the atmosphere. Once humidity breaches the 60% threshold, your bunker becomes a greenhouse for decay. Crossing 80% turns it into a biohazard zone. Stachybotrys or black mold releases mycotoxins that assault the nervous system and shut down lungs. It doesn't just ruin supplies, it colonizes lungs. To combat this, treat humidity control as religion. Dehumidifiers must run perpetually to keep below 50%. If water beads on concrete, the battle turns. Your food storage demands even stricter discipline. Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and a vacuum seal keep the temperature under 70 degrees. If you spot a patch of fuzz on rations, do not attempt to salvage it, dispose immediately. This extends to paper documents, cotton, leather holsters. All of it is food for mold. Wipe every surface with bleach solutions weekly. If you inhale those spores long enough, your immune system collapses, you drown in fluids. Here on Victor's Logic we talk about power. But underground power generation is a double-edged sword. You have your diesel backup and battery banks, but a combustion engine manufactures death. Carbon monoxide is the silent assassin. Colorless, odorless, it binds to red blood cells faster than oxygen. It essentially suffocates your cells while lungs are full. Even a minor exhaust leak fills a sealed room. With 1600 parts per million of CO, killing everyone inside in 15 minutes, ventilation for a generator must be flawless, metal piping perfectly sealed, venting far away. But even with that you need redundancy. Multiple battery-operated CO detectors are mandatory. When that alarm shrieks, you evacuate. Furthermore, keep the fuel source external. Diesel and propane fumes are heavy and flammable. One spark in a fuel-saturated room creates a thermobaric explosion. Perhaps the most insidious threat is your own head. Total isolation is a solvent dissolving the mind. Without sensory input, the brain cannibalizes itself. Hallucinations, paranoia, and temporal distortion set in. You lose the concept of day and night. Sleep patterns shatter. Historical confinement data shows that after 10 days of strict isolation, rational people exhibit symptoms like schizophrenia. You must engineer psychology like your air supply. Rigid structure is the only defense. Wake up, eat, work, exercise on a schedule. If companions start staring into the distance for hours, immediate intervention is required. Remember, the bunker is a temporary shield. Have clear metrics for when to surface. If the psychological toll becomes too great, risking the surface is better than insanity. Finally, consider the microscopic war. In damp environments, a scratch is not just a scratch, it is a vector for sepsis. Bacteria thrive in humidity. Stress suppresses immunity. Without intervention, a minor cut kills in 3 days. Hygiene becomes a survival tactic. Gloves, masks, and aggressive disinfection are non-negotiable. Stockpile broad-spectrum antibiotics and learn usage. If a virus gets inside, quarantine must be ruthless. The truth is, a bunker is not a fortress. It is a complex life support machine requiring maintenance. Treat it like a storage locker, it becomes a tomb. The collapse of society isn't what ends you, it is failing to understand systems keeping you alive. You have a choice: build a system based on engineering and reality, or lock the door and hope for the best. Hope is not a strategy, competence is. Make sure you are subscribed to Victor's Logic to keep survival strategy grounded in facts, not fantasies. The dark is coming, be ready.